Hello and welcome to Yemmycast, a video game podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and SoundCloud. Hey, it's a Sunday episode, everyone. Wow, there's a first time for everything. I don't have my sound effects plugged in again, but here we go. Everyone's applauding because they're so happy that there's finally a Sunday episode. And today on the Sunday episode, we're gonna be not counting, but we're gonna be placing all of our all the Call of Duties in their respective places. I was watching a lot of those stupid tier list videos, and people didn't have all the Call of Duties on the list. I know I've excluded a few like DS and minor games, but this is the core set of Call of Duty games here, and yes, that's right, we are going to be placing them in their correct spots. Yes, I am here with none other than Greedy Waffle, aka Nick. What is up?
Hello, everyone. Glad to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
So yeah, Nick and we grew up together playing all the Call of Duties.
All of them.
I don't think there's one we missed.
Back from the old computer days.
Oh, back on the old Windows XP playing Call of Duty OG.
Sitting side by side each other, waiting for someone to die to take our turn to play.
Exactly. Yep, we went every other death, I think, was the rule. But hey, Nick, how you doing today?
It's starting to snow here, so if you like the snow, thumbs up, but snow kind of sucks in my opinion, so that's how I'm doing.
Yeah, snow
Darn
sucks.
snow. But other than that, I'm doing good. I'm ready to rank these Call of Duties.
All right, let's rank these Call of Duty. Some of them are rank, if you know what I mean.
Yes.
There's a good amount that are classics. We're just going to go through the list from the first, all the way to the newest one, which is Modern Warfare. Nick, anything you want to say before we start? Any prayers you want to go about?
Let's see. I don't think so, honestly.
All right, so we're going to start with Call of Duty Uno. Uno Call of Duty, the first one. Here it is.
2003.
2000? Yes, you'll be the date man for us.
Oh, yeah.
So Call of Duty was the OG Call of Duty. I mean, it was fantastic. Multiplayer was on point. You were able to pretty much, I mean, people would make servers and they would put specific rules on them. They didn't like do like jump servers and stuff like that until the next game, which we'll talk about. But Call of Duty 1 was the premier Call of Duty experience. Do you agree?
Oh, yes, I agree. This one, the campaign in this one was crazy good. This goes back to when I said, we sat by each other, waiting for each other to die. But I want to talk about the maps in this one. The maps were spot on. What's the one? The Chateau? Oh,
Chateau.
Man. That one, I missed that one. That was a classic. But this one, I believe, is a top tier one.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd put it in S tier myself because, there's not as much to do in this one. Yes, the campaign is great. It spans the 3 different fronts of the war, Russia, America, and the British. But, I think the British missions were kind of lame. Like, there was the one where you had to go across the bridge, then go back, retreat back across the bridge, and but the other maps, I mean, all the other levels are pretty good, but I would say this one's an A tier. Do you want to argue for the S tier?
I wouldn't argue for that. I know I said top tier earlier, but I do agree with the A tier. I mean, it's an old classic game, so you can't dig into it like the Call of Duties nowadays because they didn't have that technology back then. But I think for Call of Duty, I mean, if we did this back in 2005, I think I would have it in the S category, but right. I can settle with an A with an A category.
2000. Wait, didn't you say it came out in 2007?
2003.
Oh, well, yeah. There's only 3 Call of Duties out, so yeah, it would be S. All right, we're gonna move on to the expansion pack for this game, which is called Call of Duty United Offense. That's right. And this one, I know everyone's like, oh, it's a expansion pack, Yemmy. It's not an actual full game. But
No,
to that I say, It is a full experience. The campaign
Yes.
is exceptional in this. You start in like the snow with the Americans, and you go through British stuff. And there's a mission where you're in a bomber and you're shooting enemy planes. It's amazing. It's a great expansion pack. They added levels. They added tanks. They added new game modes. They added new weapons. It's literally Call of Duty on crack.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, this is United Offense is something we'll never, ever, ever see again from a Call of Duty franchise. This Call of Duty United Offense is a whole new campaign. I mean, yeah, the weapons are the same, but even the multiplayer maps, they're different. It's like a whole new. It's like another game that came out. It's amazing, and and they call it expansion. Now I guess they're called DLCs, but still, you'll never ever see a like expansion like this again. I mean, I wish they still did it, but yes, I agree with what you just said.
Yeah, it's definitely top tier, and it's definitely if you have not played either of the first one or the expansion pack, they are available on Steam, which I would suggest picking up because both the games are just amazing. And United Offense, when we were kids, I mean, there was a server that we would always go to that was Capture the Flag, and they had like a bot in there that was keeping track of your score throughout the different. Like you could leave the server, come back with a different name, and it would keep your ID. It was intact. It was amazing. And then of course the jump servers were
Yes.
fantastic. Like that's something that like you just said we won't see expansion packs like this again. Well, we won't see jump servers ever again because things like that hot lava game can get close to it, but nothing beats the OG Call of Duty United Offense jump server where you just you went through an obstacle course pretty much and it just utilized the things that you do in the game and they modified things and there was custom maps and those days are gone and never gonna come back.
Yeah, even like you saying the jump server, there's even modded servers, that added different weapons. There were zombie servers,
Oh
that's
yeah, yeah.
remember those? Those were crazy fun.
The
And like
Modern
the
Warfare servers where they added like M16s and stuff.
yeah, and there was what was like the jump servers, you had to throw grenades on the ground and you had to time your jump perfectly to where the grenade had to help you like jump higher than you initially could. So just thinking about different strategies on jump server. It wasn't just jumping from like box A to box B. Box B might be taller than your normal jumping distance, so you had to throw a grenade. And I remember the days where your crosshair would go in and out, and you had to count it 1, 2, 3, jump, and then on the fourth one it will explode. So timing like that, it was crazy fun. I wish they would bring them back.
Yeah, good times. So I think we're in agreement. S tier for this one.
Yes, sir.
The first S tier of the day.
Since you don't have your applause,
Oh, I just did it. I plugged it in.
I hoped.
Okay, so next up would be Call of Duty Finest Hour. I almost said two, but it's actually Call of Duty
Yeah, I was about to
Finest
say.
Hour. That is the. Here we go. We're on it. All right, Finest Hour. So this is the one that came out for consoles like the Xbox One, the PS2, the GameCube. It did not come to PC or future consoles. This game, I think, has been lost to time, don't you think? Not
Yeah.
many people know about this game. This was actually the first one that you picked up, and I remember I got it a day later. You got it for the PS2, I got it for the GameCube, and this is the one game that started our love for Call of Duty. It was a little bit different than the PC versions. The graphics were a little bit different. The game acted a little bit different. You could actually open doors by pressing like square or something like that. I remember this game just being really well done, but there wasn't much to do in it.
Yeah, going off of what you just said, I just remember this game being strictly like campaign. I remember the one mission where you're in the tank warehouse and you have to go like on the balcony,
Hmm.
and I think the whole main game you're a sniper, or you play.
There's
I think
a
maybe it's just the opening, but
well, there's a level that's you're just a sniper the whole level.
yeah, and you're just a sniper, and you're just sniping from this like tank warehouse, and you're defending it. It was just like a classic, like defend your position with the sniper and the guns. The Mosin. and what else is there? The MP40, and I don't think they have the MP44, but still, I mean, just that whole idea was just fun, you know, just like that campaign. It was just flat out awesome.
Yeah, I think the game started off really, really strong, and then it kind of started to fizzle out towards the end. I think, if I remember correctly, like the last few levels were just like big open areas, and the enemies are crawling from every corner. I do want to play this one again, and I do have it for. I think I have it for the PS2. So
This
it's
is
definitely going to come around to the streams eventually. But this is a good one. I don't know if I would put it in S or A, but I'm looking at
B.
B. Yeah.
Yeah. This one's the one where, or maybe I think that's another Call of Duty, but you go to the bunkers and you gotta like go up the hill. I don't, I could be thinking of something else. I think
Yes, that is in that one.
it is in that one. Okay, so yeah,
Yep.
see, I think
That's
that's
during the
also part
Russian
of the
campaign.
Russian, and the sniper ones they're in the Russian campaign, so they really hit the Russian campaign on that part. So
Yeah. Yeah, this one was only American and Russian side of the wars. They did not have the Brits in this one, I don't believe. But yeah, it was structured pretty well. There was local multiplayer, if I remember correctly, but we never played that because it was just
yeah,
player versus player.
it was
And if we wanted to do that, we would just play European Assault.
yeah, it was another one of those. We waited until it was our turn. So
Yeah. All right, so that's going in the B territory right there. Next, we're moving on to Call of Duty. Call of Duty 2. Call of Duty 2. And this is a weird one because Call of Duty 2 only came out on PC and the Xbox 360. I believe it was on the. I don't think it was on the Xbox One, but all the other consoles got a different game, which we'll talk about next.
I mean, it's backwards compatible, but I don't know
is.
if that counts.
It is Xbox One, I guess. Okay, we'll add Xbox One in there for you. Call of Duty 2 starts off really, really good. The campaign levels are way better than anything we saw in the past on this one. It had a lot of like those levels where you could kind of do objectives in the order you wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
And it was really like the Russian campaign was awesome. The graphics were like a step up in this one, and really the graphics for Call of Duty 2 were better than most of the Call of Duties that came out after, like 3 and maybe even 4. Definitely 3, but maybe not 4. But I remember this one being really, really good. I do have it. It's not like I haven't played it in forever, but I do remember it. Just the level design is really good in this one. And the multiplayer was actually really fun, and you can actually still play the multiplayer. These servers are still up if you have an older computer. I don't think Windows 10 can run it, but good game, great campaign. But the campaign did fizzle out in the end because each campaign was divided into segments, and the last segment was like 2 levels, and they were just piss poor. Like they were not fun to do. Like you cross a river in a boat, and then you attack the town, and then you defeat 3 Tiger tanks at the end by planting C4 on them, and that's it. I was like, well, this is not a great ending, but this did introduce us to the North African part of the war. It was the first time, and that was during the British campaign with the Crusader tanks. That was really fun.
Yeah, how can you forget the tank levels? This is what I wanted to say the whole time during Call of Duty 2, during your little speech. And we forgot to mention in United Offense as well as the tank levels and the ability. Can someone please, like, future COD developer, if you're listening to this, please add like abilities to like, what's the tank mode called? Assault or something like that? The
Yeah,
bunker.
yeah.
That was in United Offense, but
Mhm.
like add tank levels. Like that's what I miss in Call of Duty 2. There was a couple of good tank levels I remember, and it was in the North African
Yep.
campaign too. So I remember it was like you're in a big sand storm,
Doom.
and you're just fighting off tanks. It was just like one of those classics. I think that level ends up fizzing out because you end up going into the trenches and like start doing hand to hand combat. But I remember that level starting out good with that tank. That was fun.
Yeah, there was like 3 tank levels in this one, and the first one was really short. Like you literally just like destroyed like 5 tanks, and then the level was over.
It's like, yeah, all right.
Yeah, I was debating putting this one in the S tier, but I do think that the campaign suffers a little bit more as you go through it, And there, other than the multiplayer, there wasn't much to do in this one either. So I would definitely put this one in the A tier.
Hey, that sounds good to me.
All right. Yeah, we're working together to do these because if we
It
both
takes
made our own, it would take
yeah
5 years.
yeah.
So yeah, we're putting Call of Duty 2 in the A tier category. Now, let's move on to actually, this is the first Call of Duty 2 game that we both got because we had older consoles. I believe you had the Xbox 360 first, so you ended up getting Call of Duty 2. And I remember us debating about, or no, that was later. I'll tell about the story later. But I remember Call of Duty 2 Big Red 1. Now, this was the one that came out for the older consoles, as it says, PS2 and GameCube. It was not available on any other platform. And Big Red 1 is interesting because it's one of the first Call of Duty games that gave you a squad and you stuck with that same squad through the whole game. There was no other campaigns except for the American side of the war. And lo and behold, even though it was made for the older consoles and blah blah blah, it actually had a pretty decent campaign. But that was all you could do in it. It was literally just campaign and then nothing else. Like the game didn't have anything else except, like bonus features.
Hey, there's another one of those, just like Finest Hour that was just campaign driven. But I remember the campaign being good. I think it was one of the first ones where you can ride in a jeep and fire off the machine gun as well. Yep. I don't think it. I don't.
That was in United Offense.
Was it? Yeah, that's true. But I mean, that was pretty fun. I don't remember it being United Offense, but I like Big Red 1 too. So, or
yeah.
Call
of Duty 2 Big Red 1. It's all the same. Yeah, I think this one's in the B territory. Same with Finest Hour because just like Finest Hour, it doesn't have much to do in it, but what it does have is good.
A great story.
Yeah. Anything else to say about Big Red Dick?
No, sir.
No, sir. All right, we're moving on to Call of Duty 3. Do you want to start off with this one?
So Call of Duty 3 was the first one that they added motion controls, correct?
Yeah.
Yep. I think you just recently streamed this. Well, not recently, but you did go through it.
I did a revisit series on this one.
And the campaign, it's just all right. I mean, I really haven't gone back and played it, so that says much. But I just didn't care for the motion controls in this, and I know there was ways to do it because I think it was on PS2 and PS2 didn't have that ability. So, or PS3. I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, PS3 you would use the controller for it. Xbox 360
like the joysticks and stuff.
Well, Xbox 360 was the one that couldn't have motion controls, but PS3 actually did have motion controls because the controller itself was a motion controller.
Okay, so yeah, I didn't care for the motion controls, and I thought the campaign was just all right. I mean, it wasn't. Yeah, I think Big Red One's campaign was better.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like, there's some missions in this. Like, there's that one towards the end where you're playing as the Polish tanker guys, and the tank is, like, fortified in a position, and you kind of are shooting at the enemies coming at you, the Germans coming at you. But the levels really start to fall apart because a lot of them have a lot of just downtime or just, like, endless enemies, and you have to kind of force your way through them. The motion controls, like we've been saying, the motion controls were just terrible. I remember playing this on the Wii. It was impossible to get through the veteran mode on the campaign with the Wii because there's no way you could beat out the German soldiers who were doing the struggle with you, which happened way too often in this game. The driving was terrible. The voice acting was terrible. Our famous quote, "Wait for the reload." It's classic Call of Duty.
I just remember the first level attacking the church, and you go through that church door, and that guy attacks you, and I just struggled as a young kid, just trying to get through that because I just wasn't fast enough or just couldn't do it. It took me a few tries.
Plus, I will say this, all the weapons look weird in this game. Am I wrong to say that?
No.
All the weapons look weird, and a lot of them sound weird. They sound way different than any other Call of Duty World War II type game.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So, on top of it all, I would have to put Call of Duty 3 in the D territory because the campaign was fun enough, but if you don't play on Xbox 360, there's no multiplayer, and the campaign's all you get, and it's like a 6-7 hour campaign. And if you factor in the motion controls, it just brings it down a lot for me.
Yep, I agree with that.
All right, going in the D category. Sorry, COD 3. More like COD D. Anyways, so after COD 3, I think there's a little bit of a gap. And then we got Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare. This is the original one. We will go over the remastered one, of course, in a little bit. But Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare was the first step in the direction of the game becoming something more than just a run and gun, run of the mill shooter type game. Call of Duty 4 kind of elevated it in the scene of gaming. It gave us Modern Warfare, which was something that people were wanting since the advent of Call of Duty. And since Call of Duty 3 was such a pickle, was such a failure, they wanted to go somewhere different with the campaign, with the game, and so Infinity Ward went with Modern Warfare. Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare. Yes, the original name was Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare. So, Nick, what do you think of this one?
I remember this one being, like you said, a step in the right direction. It's what it was the spark Call of Duty needed to like revamp the series. The campaign, I thought the campaign was great. I mean, it was one of the classic campaigns. Multiplayer, if I remember correctly, all I remember from this game is the G36. That's literally all I can remember because that was my favorite all-time gun to ever use, or my second, I should say. I'll get to my first later.
Ooh.
But I think this one, good campaign, and the multiplayer, I remember it being fun before it just got hacked to shit nowadays.
Yeah, for the time, the multiplayer was great. This was the first game to introduce kill streaks. I believe the UAV, it was basic. It was UAV, chopper, and dogs or something like that.
Yeah, dogs were in it.
Yeah. The campaign in this one's amazing. The all gillied up mission is a classic. No,
yes.
That's it. Yeah. That is Call of Duty Modern Warfare. They're all starting to blur together a little bit. I'm old.
Yeah, you are.
But Call of Duty Modern Warfare, definitely top tier. I don't think I would put it in S tier because it's not as good as the later games in the series, but I definitely would say A tier.
I would say possibly like high B, but yeah, I go with A.
We can put it between A and B.
There you go. Perfect.
The graphics weren't there yet, and the Modern Warfare Reflex, which was the Wii version, was actually not too bad, which was the version that I played originally. And
there was a couple of add-ons, like DS and the mobile, I believe.
I believe there was just DS, but yeah. So yeah, we'll put that between A and B because it's not like the best thing ever, but it's also not as bad as Call of Duty 3. So there we go.
But it's stepping in the right direction, though.
Yes, good game. All right, so next on the list, which World at War do you want to do first?
Let's do the classic World at War.
All right, so this is just Call of Duty World at War. World at War was
one.
Oh yeah. World at War was the last Call of Duty game in the World War II era for a while, and a lot of people didn't want to pick this one up simply because it was, who cares about World War II anymore? We want Modern Warfare. Give us Modern Warfare, we riot. Well, the one thing people didn't expect to come around was zombies. One, this was the first game with zombies, and two, this was definitely a mature version of World War II. The other games were kind of kiddie, they didn't show much blood, no body parts being ripped off. But
Hello?
I've recently replayed this one, just on my own, and dang, is it dark and kind of spooky, right? The metro levels with the Russian campaign, just the brutality of everything, just really shows in this one. And the multiplayer was a little bit rough. I think this was the first time they were doing ranked up system. So like the multiplayer was like you got like 1 XP from each kill. Yeah. And the attachments were pretty dumb on it, on the guns. I felt like the multiplayer really lacked in this one, but Zombies and campaign mode, mwah, bellissimo.
Yeah, and campaign mode. This was the first one that was co-op, though, right?
Yes, this is the
Yeah.
first co-op campaign, which was a lot of fun. Unfortunately, we
Yes.
can't get it to work on computer anymore. Neither can we get the zombies working either. So, which is kind of like a big F in chat, but
Yeah. I wouldn't
still.
mind a remaster of this one.
Oh yeah, I could see one. The game is definitely could be remastered. I mean, this is like one of the only Call of Duty games where body parts fall off of people. Like I said, it's like this one's the most brutal Call of Duty until you get to the later ones, and definitely deserves to be, I think, in the A tier.
I would even put in the S tier. I think this campaign was great. Like Victor Reznov, I can't do his voice, but I really like the characters in it. Victor Reznov was fun. The sniping one that you where you almost die in the well. You remember that one where you're in the middle and
Oh,
the
you mean
German
Stalingrad?
Stalin, yeah, where the Germans come up and they're like shooting people around you, but you're pretending to be dead, and that I think that's the level where you meet
Yep.
Reznov.
Yep, he lost
And
his finger.
and that whole level right there, just sneaking through the town, through a German captured town, it was just, that campaign, I would play it night in and night out if I could.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't put it in S tier simply because of the multiplayer in this one. I think the multiplayer really struggled in this game because it was such an early version of the ranking up system. That's why I'm saying A on this one.
Well, we agree to disagree, I guess.
All right, we're putting it in the middle of S and A. There we go.
Awesome.
All right, so next up would be
We're not
World
going to
at
talk
War Final Fronts.
There we go. I was like, wait, we're not going to talk about Final Fronts?
Yeah, well, Final Fronts I wish I didn't have to talk about because this game...
The T-rated Call of Duty.
Oh, yeah. Well, this one was made only for the PlayStation 2. It's a PlayStation 2 exclusive. If you look on the list of PlayStation 2 exclusives, you got a bunch of Japanese games, and then you have Call of Duty World at War Final Fronts. Final Fronts was made for little children. The game plays about as good as you'd think it would. This was actually made by an early Rebellion studio who moved on to do the Sniper Elite series. And it's a smear on their resume because this game sucks so much. The campaign is just awful. The animations, the story, just everything about this game.
Yeah.
It really just... I hate it.
Didn't I pick up this game because...
Yes.
And then you played it over and we got halfway through and we're just like, we can't anymore. It's just can't.
The shotgun's a sniper rifle. Well, actually, this is the one... I was going to tell this story before, but I remember it was actually for this game, where I got World at War on the Xbox 360 or something like that, or PS3, and you got World at War for the PlayStation 2. You picked it up for the PlayStation 2, and I was trying to talk to you about the levels in the game. I'm like, oh, the Russian levels are really cool, and you're like, what Russian levels?
Yeah,
Like-
because we didn't know, because we're
Yeah.
just young plants, and we
Yes.
didn't know. I
So
was
when
like, wait, my game's rated T. What? What?
Yeah, so when I came over to your house, I'm like, yeah, this ain't it, brother.
You're like, hey, I'm gonna head out.
Yeah. But yeah, this one just was I mean, I don't think this one should even have been made. I mean, they wanted to
Nope.
cash in on the people who still had PlayStation 2s because it was a pretty, well selling. It was one of the best selling consoles of all time. But it just, I mean, whew. Like I said, Rebellion Studios might want to just, axe this
Scratch
from
it
their
off.
resume.
Yeah, scratch
And
it off the resume.
I think this is one of the only Call of Duties that actually I would rate F tier, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I'll give it. Is there anything lower than F?
No, not in this list. So yeah, we'll give this one a big shart. Because we gave the S tier ones applause, so this one gets the shart. Okay,
Alright.
so after that would be Modern Warfare 2, right? There we go. All right, so Modern Warfare 2, we all know it. We all love it. It was the next game in the Modern Warfare series, and people went crazy for it, for good reason. The campaign is the best campaign in almost every single Call of Duty.
Yes.
The multiplayer, when it was in its early days, was pristine. The ACR destroyed.
Oh yes, that's
And
what
of
I wanted to
course-
say earlier. That's my best gun next to the
Yeah.
G36.
There you go. The only problem is nowadays the servers are hacked to shit, but That's okay, because we still have the memories of the good days of playing this game before everyone just decided to go hacker mode on it. And this was the first game to introduce Spec Ops, which blew everything out of the water. Nick and I literally play the Spec Ops mode in this every year. Like,
Yeah, we just did it a couple months ago.
yeah. The only thing is, like, on the PS3 and Xbox 360, the servers don't work, but on the PC, things still kind of work enough for us to get through the levels together, and they're really good levels. I don't think there's... I think only, like, the snowmobile one where you have to race through the checkpoints is, like, my least favorite, but even then, it's still a fun Spec Ops mode. And like I said earlier, the campaign mode is excellent. There's just so many great moments in the campaign. I don't have anything negative to say other than the multiplayer nowadays could use some work. Infinity Ward, just patch out those people who can hack, and it's still a great game to today's standards.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, that I can't forget that dark mission where you had the ability to skip it. So back to that.
Oh yeah, the airport.
The
No
campaign
Russian.
is probably the best campaign right next to World at War. The Spec Ops multiplayer was fun. Besides the sniping, but you can't go wrong with the intervention. Am I right?
Well, yeah.
The maps were fun too. I remember the maps being multiplayer maps are really really fun and easy. Not huge and like camping maps.
Yeah, I think there's only like one map I didn't like too much, but all the other ones, really good map selection. And this is one of the first Call of Duties to put in DLC. Call of Duty World at War did it as well, but not on the scale. Well, actually, it was probably a bigger scale than Modern Warfare 2, but Modern Warfare 2 added 1 or 2 expansion packs you had to buy separately, and that was the last Call of Duty that made you buy a separate disc to get the DLC, quote unquote, for the game. So, Modern Warfare 2 definitely S tier for me, and probably for you, right?
Yes, S tier, definitely.
S tier. All right, we can round of applause. Modern Warfare 2. Congratulations. Take your award and leave. So now we're going to jump over to the original Black Ops. The original Black Ops 1 came out next. And when it originally came out, I remember looking at this game and being like, dang, this game looks worse than Modern Warfare 2. This game looks worse than World at War. It was using the same engine as World at War, of course. But once you start playing this game, the story is one of the most in-depth and interesting stories out of all of them. And then they built upon the zombies in this game tenfold. It was an amazing zombies experience. The DLC came along. They added all the old maps into this new one with all the perks and stuff you could get. I think this is a really well-rounded Call of Duty, especially because the multiplayer held up back then. It was still a great, fun multiplayer. And the campaign mode, I mean, the Vietnam part of the game, and you had Victor Reznov showing up, and there was Mason, and he was brainwashed, and that level where you're getting out of the Russian prison. Oh my gosh, so many great moments in this. And for a game called Call of Duty Black Ops, there was a lot of running around in the sun and shooting Viet Cong in the daylight.
Yeah, the only issue for this one I had is I didn't care for the guns. It's like the FAL, they were like big, chunky, and weird. If I remember correctly, I just don't really care for the guns because I remember the Prison Breakout. All you could use was the pistol and the FAL until later on, obviously, and the shotguns. I just remember the shotguns or all the guns. I'm sorry, just like being just weird. Just like the Finest Hour. It's just weird, or not Finest Hour, Call of Duty 3, just being weird and didn't look right.
I can kind of see that.
Maybe it was just more campaign than multiplayer, but I just remember that one mission where, you got the pistol in your hand and it's so big, and then you break open the gun lock, and it's just, the shotguns are so weird. I don't know. It's just weird.
Well, yeah, I don't agree with that, but I think this one's definitely I think this one would be an S tier for me, but I'm okay to agree with an A tier if you want.
I mean, it's your list, so I'm just here to add.
Our list.
Oh.
We're making it together.
We can do halfway between S and A.
Oh, we're doing it again. Actually, let's put it in S. I'm fine with S. S tier. Congratulations, Black Ops 1. You're S tier. All right. So now we move on to Modern Warfare 3. Modern Warfare Trace.
Ooh.
Modern Warfare 3 was one of the biggest releases in Call of Duty history. And what do you know? As I said on Fubar Ferret, I quit my job for the release of this game. Which ended up being, it was a solid entry in the Modern Warfare series. I really enjoyed the campaign. I really enjoyed the multiplayer. I love the survival mode, and Spec Ops faltered a little bit in this one. I didn't like the missions as much as Modern Warfare 2, but this is a solid game. It's a solid entry into the series, and it really tied up a lot of loose ends in the story very, very well. This is one of the only Call of Duty games where the story led up to this, and then like 90% of the characters just died during this campaign. It was crazy. What did you think of Modern Warfare 3?
I really enjoyed it. The campaign was great. I like the Spec Op missions. I mean, I don't know why you're saying it wasn't that great, but
The submarine level where you got lost?
yeah, I mean, I still had fun though doing it. And it's still a good campaign or a good Spec Op mission. And the multiplayer. I mean, we just played it a couple months ago or a month ago, I want to say, and it was still fun. I mean, it wasn't as hacked as like Modern Warfare 2, but
It's still hacked, though.
yeah, I mean, we got into one. I'll say we got into 1 out of 4.
Yeah.
But still, guns were great. You still had your ACR, right? And it was fun. I mean, I had a lot of fun with it.
Yeah, I don't think the Spec Ops missions were as good as Modern Warfare 2. Like the sniping mission in Modern
yeah,
Warfare
if we're
3
comparing it, yeah,
is a lot weaker than the one in 2. I mean, you got to compare it. It's apples to apples. It's Modern Warfare 2 and 3. It's
right,
in the same
true.
series.
Fair enough.
So I love this game. And I think I would put it in the A tier in my opinion.
I agree with that.
All right, A tier for Modern Warfare 3. You almost did it. All right, so now we move on to Black Ops 2, which a lot of people don't know this about Black Ops 2, but it has one of the best campaigns in the Call of Duty series. I know I've said that a lot, but this one you had a choice in the matter when going through the campaign, and I think the missions were really fun, and the choices you made really built up to the end of it. This is also where we got the famous meme of the guy who just says cocksucker over and over and over again.
Cocksucker.
The one thing I didn't like about Black Ops 2, one, the zombies mode took on a new form. It went heavily secret based. It wasn't just like hold out until you die.
Story based. Yeah.
It was way more story based, which I didn't enjoy. And then also the guns in the game, I wasn't too big of a fan of the guns in the game. They were futuristic, of course, and it was the first kind of leap into the futuristic warfare type thing. And the guns were okay. I didn't enjoy them though, because of course they kind of felt cartoony in a game that felt so realistic. Well, not realistic, but set in a future world that we could see.
I mean, anytime I hear about this game, all I think about is the ending of the game and the meme that was like, America, fuck yeah.
That was Black Ops 1.
Oh, no, was it? Oh. Yep. Damn. I'm wrong. Never mind.
He's wrong.
That's unfortunate.
In the end, I would probably put this game in the B tier because the zombies is not as good, and of course the multiplayer, there was a few maps in the multiplayer that I hated, like the cruise ship. That was just one of those, I think it was called Hijacked or something like that. That was one of those maps that just really stunk poo-poo to high heaven. And like I said, the guns were just not as much fun to use as the older games. Still, the campaign, though, brings this game way up, and I do really want to play through the campaign again. I was going for the best ending on this game, and I got it a few times, but it really takes a lot of work because you have to do these missions that are like you like can switch between characters and stuff like that. It was that brought the campaign down a little bit, but they were optional missions except if you wanted to get the best ending. So that's why I'm putting it in B tier.
Can't forget the horse level too in this one.
Oh yeah, the horse level. That's a fantastic level. That was the cool thing about this one is it linked up with Black Ops 1. So Mason was back, Woods was back,
Woods was
and
old though, wasn't
yeah.
he?
Well, in the flashbacks he wasn't old, but in the future he was old. And it really linked the two games together really really well, and I do commend them for that because in later games they just kind of forgot what they were doing. But before we talk about that, we have to talk about the biggest wah wah, Call of Duty Ghosts. Well, I guess not the biggest wah wah, but it's a pretty big wah wah. Call of Duty Ghosts. So this game is the game that broke Wicked Shrapnel. If you don't recall, he did a video of himself breaking the disc because he hated it so much. Now, I'm not on that level with Call of Duty Ghosts. I did recently play through it, probably about half a year ago now. And even though the campaign struggles at times, it's still a decent campaign. The guns are okay. They're fine to use. They're not like fun, but they're okay. The multiplayer kind of struggled with this. They tried to do a few different things with how the class setup works and stuff like that. I believe this was the first one that introduced score streaks as well. And then this was also one that introduced the levels changed as you played on them. Like the gas station blew up on one level. If you dropped a nuke on the one level, the whole map would change, but it was only that map. There was another level where like the street flooded or something like that while you were playing through it. And then the extinction mode really dragged this game down. It was a big miss on the end of Infinity Ward. They were trying to do like a zombies type thing, except with aliens, and yeah, it was just dumb.
It was A for effort, A for effort and F for final product. I mean, I like the idea, like you have your different classes, and like each class is something different, and you can like move to different areas. It was just like put together poorly, and the campaign, I don't remember much of the campaign. So I'm not really going to say much about it, but I just remember the multiplayer just being god awful. The maps were awful, just everything.
I liked the maps. The layout of the maps were fine in this one, but yeah, it was like the guns weren't made for multiplayer. Like the Honey Badger was the only gun you needed in this game because it had a built-in silencer and killed people in like 3 hits, and that was like the first assault rifle you could get. Every other gun was worthless in this game.
I remember the map.
Except for the FAD. I guess the FAD was really good.
This one's the one with the map where it had the cliffside and had like the ruins and like the castle, right?
Yes, this one did have the castle map.
That was that map.
Yeah, that was the biggest map in Call of Duty history for Call of Duty Ghosts, and it was one of the worst maps. And where are we now? But yeah, I like I said, the campaign was all right in this one. I have played through it a few times, and I enjoy it every time I go through it. But it's not like as fun as like a Modern Warfare 2 or a Black Ops or a Call of Duty 2 or 1. I think I would probably put this one in the D area. I think.
Yeah, I agree with the D.
All right, so Call of Duty D Ghosts. Sorry, Casper, but your commercial annoyed me too much.
Movies.
So next up is the first game to come from. Wait, is that the next one? Sledgehammer's game, Advanced Warfare. Is that next?
Yes. Yep.
Yes, it is. Okay, so Call of Duty Advanced Warfare. Now, here's another controversial one. People hate this one to high heaven. Now, me personally, I actually enjoyed the guns in this one. The laser guns were fun to use. And actually, the multiplayer wasn't half bad in this one. But here's the thing. When you add the 3D element of this, where you can go up on top of buildings and climb on walls and stuff like that, it loses a little bit of its Call of Duty charm. And that's where it kind of lost me. Because I was used to looking at the ground, kind of maybe looking up at a building window, but when people were like jumping on top of buildings and slamming down onto you and then coming up behind you with a pistol or something like that, it was really, really annoying. And then the campaign has Kevin Spacey in it, so that didn't age very well. But the campaign wasn't fun either. I don't remember the campaign being fun. Maybe there's like 1 or 2 missions where the campaign was fun, but Advanced Warfare as a whole was a real big miss, and unfortunately it was the first game from Sledgehammer, and it kind of started them off on the wrong foot.
Yeah, I remember the laser gun, and I think in the campaign you can use it, and that was fun. I think that was probably one of the fun levels you mentioned, but yeah, I just don't like jetpacks, everything about jetpacks, just forget it,
The other thing that was fun in this game was there was a survival mode in this one. that you could play. But the one thing that took this one down was the fact that you had to buy the Exo Zombies mode. It was an
Yeah.
add-on that came out like half a year later, and that rubs me the wrong way. So yeah, I think Advanced Warfare, it's definitely not like F tier or E tier, but I would probably put this one in D tier again.
Yeah, I'd put it like high D, maybe mid C, but I agree with D. Yeah.
All right, so D tier it is for Call of Duty Advanced Warfare. All right, so next up we have the next entry in the Black Ops series with Black Ops 3. Now, this one there was a really funny video on my old channel where this was one of the this campaign was co-op again, and it had the worst characters, it had the worst story, but it had that co-op element.
Yeah.
And we made fun of this game so much while playing
To
through
the
it.
death of it.
There was one level where you did this hoverboat mission, and you at the end of the mission you kind of crash landed, and everyone was like, getting out, and I'm like, oh, Hernandez is gonna say something funny, and he got up and he was like, oh, well that was good, and everyone was like, it was just it's the most cringy campaign ever, and this campaign didn't link up with the other Black Ops stories, so it was just its own story.
Robots too in there.
Yes, it has the robots and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Zombies mode once again went farther into that. There's got to be a story behind it. There's got to be a secret thing, Easter egg build up, and I just didn't like that kind of stuff still. And then there was the zombie campaign mode that they added, which was just dumb. And then the multiplayer was just garbage as well. And I don't think there's anything redeeming about Black Ops 3 except for the fact that the campaign was co-op.
Yeah, I mean, we did have we forced ourselves through the campaign, but we
on
still
the
had,
hardest difficulty. We did on veteran.
yeah, we still had fun. But the whole idea of the robots and I think you had the zip line. I remember one mission where you had a zip line between buildings and fight robots. It was just a waste of time.
Campy.
I just don't remember. I just don't like that. I know that's the only way that's the future. Probably we're gonna be fighting robots, but it was just what? It just had me scratching my head at the game.
Yeah. It's not like, I don't think this one's F tier. I think it's E tier. I think it's right above an F because the co-op campaign at least gave us some enjoyment, but the rest of the game fell flat on its face.
I disagree with that. I would put it in F.
All right, F tier it is. I was on the edge, so you swayed me. F tier for Call of Duty Black Ops 3. We got him. Okay, so next up is we can either do Modern Warfare Remastered or Infinite Warfare. Which one do you want to talk about first?
Was it Modern Warfare Remastered after? Oh, let's just do Infinite Warfare.
Okay, so Infinite Warfare and Modern Warfare Remastered came out on the same day. Actually, Modern Warfare came out. Technically, Modern Warfare Remastered came out early for people who bought Infinite Warfare, I'm pretty sure, but it came on the same disc. It was like a download code. But we'll do Infinite Warfare first because it was of course, it was the big release at the time. And Infinite Warfare is notorious for having one of the most disliked trailers on YouTube, and actually one of the most disliked videos in general on YouTube, because people were tired of the futuristic warfare since Ghosts. People were like, Advanced Warfare, Ghosts, Black Ops 3, Black Ops 2, we were just tired of it. Really tired of it. But Nicholas, I'll tell you this right now. I enjoyed Infinite Warfare.
Uh-oh.
I don't know if I'm crazy, but I did like Infinite Warfare, except for the multiplayer. The multiplayer brought it down a lot because it was just dumb. The guns just weren't right for multiplayer. But in the campaign mode, I love the campaign mode. You went to different planets, the jet flying, the spaceship thing, the space jet, the big dreadnoughts in the sky, in space. Those missions were great. And even though the voice acting was awful and the story was pretty bad, the levels still worked really, really well. And I had, you could see that it was an Infinity Ward game. It had a great storyline to it, even though the story wasn't as good. But you could tell that it was well thought out, I would say. And the zombies mode in this game, you went to that 80s theme park with what's his face? What was his name? Well, anyways, 80s theme park, and it was the zombies mode. It was really fun.
Yeah, I remember the zombies being fun, and I think the ending of the campaign with Infinite Warfare was one of the best. Well, I wouldn't say the best, but it had a really fun ending because you're attacking like this. You're going uphill again, up these stairs, and like cars are flying down and like fucking like crushing your guys, and uh, I think this one had a little space aspect to it too, right? Little space warfare too in it.
Well, did you not hear me? It had spaceships.
Oh, I'm sorry,
It
I didn't.
had space
Oh,
jets.
I guess I'm not
Uh,
listening. I guess.
you went to different planets in this one.
Okay,
Uh,
yeah, I remember you saying that. Now it just blew across my mind. But yes, I did like the campaign in this. I would agree with you. I would not call you crazy.
yeah, a lot of people like to knock this game, and I do too. It's still kind of it's less than all of the Modern Warfares combined. It's still less than most of the original games, but it's still like the campaign was just it was such a good step for Infinity Ward, and you could tell that they didn't want to do an infinite, a futuristic game. They're kind of forced into it because that was popular when they started developing the game. But damn, using that grappling hook in the
Yeah.
campaign was so much fun. Doing the jet stuff, the space jet stuff it was so free. I thought it was going to be all on rails, but you could actually target any ship you wanted to and do the spaceship stuff with that. And that actually morphed over into the Call of Duty World War II when they did the plane missions in that one. So Infinite Warfare, I would definitely not put lower than a D, but I definitely wouldn't put it higher than a B. I'm thinking a
I
C
thought
on
say
this
C.
one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll agree with you with that.
So that's our first C, Infinite Warfare. Not too
Call
bad.
what do we?
Call of Duty. Hate me in the comments, but I stand by that. All right, let's move on to Modern Warfare Remastered. Now, the only reason that this gets a separate thing is because they did do different things with this game, and I will tell you what they are. They updated the graphics, of course, which is a given, but they added in stuff from Modern Warfare 2 and 3 into this game that would have happened in the past. So they added Makarov into the scene where you're sniping Zakayev and you shoot his arm off. And they did a bunch of stuff with this game to improve the quality of life. The campaign is still excellent in this game, and you know what? If I had to go back and play Modern Warfare again, this would be the version that I would want to play again. I platinumed this
Yep.
game on the PlayStation, and the campaign is just so well done, and the updated graphics and the updated gun mechanics really worked well in this game. Where this game struggled was it was still using the old version of multiplayer. Three kill streaks, basic guns, and one of the things that was a big miss in this game, if you missed out on the events in this, you missed out on new guns in the game, and the new guns in the game were overpowered as fuck. So that's why this game is not as good as the original game, to me, in my opinion. It's close because they added some things, they updated the graphics, everything was fine with it. But if they had just touched the multiplayer a little bit better, I think this game would have definitely been better than the original version, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with everything you say. I mean, I don't see why it was remastered. I mean, I know you just listed it off, but it was just like it should have been. I think everyone was so happy about like the multiplayer, and then the multiplayer was just being a letdown. So I think that's why it's still not talked about. But yeah, I agree.
They
Okay.
remastered this game because of the fact that Infinite Warfare wasn't going to sell, and they knew it. That's why they did it. Because they bundled it with it originally, and now you can buy it separate. And if you didn't know, this game was voted the best remaster of the year because that's a category now when it came out. So yeah, I think I would put it in a B tier because we put Call of Duty 4 in between a B and an A, and I think this is just lower than the original Modern Warfare.
It gives us hope that Modern Warfare 2 will be remastered next.
Yeah, well, that was supposed to be with this game, but they rebooted the series. So.
Yeah, well, there's still hope.
Well, I guess. So next up is one of my personal favorites. It's Call of Duty World War II. Now, y'all know that I'm a big fan of the World War II stuff. And Call of Duty World War II took everything it learned from all the past World War II games, and it combined it into the World War II experience, and the campaign and the multiplayer was beautiful in this game. It was top tier in my opinion. Where this game let me down, of course, was the zombies mode. It was weird.
Mm-hmm.
It had like special zombies in it that I didn't enjoy shooting and fighting.
And it was story driven.
Once again, it was pretty story driven. which kind of drove it into the ground for me. Whereas Infinite Warfare Zombies, it was not story driven or Easter egg driven. You could still do it as like a holdout map, but World War II, you had to go through the Easter egg stuff just to even get a pack-a-punch machine. It was like, come on. So in the end, it's still one of my favorite Call of Duties ever. World War II is still a top tier one for me. I know a lot of people kind of put it down when it came out, but we were playing this game the whole year that this came out. There wasn't a week that went by that I did not put this game in my system. And towards the end of its lifespan, of course, it started to fizzle out, but the events were awesome. The new guns they added were great, and you could still get the new guns even if the event wasn't going on. There was contracts that came out to, get 20 kills and you get the Sten, and it was like amazing. The only thing that was a miss in the campaign wise, was there wasn't enough guns for the campaign, so they like put the PPSH in the Germans' hands and the Type 95 in German hands, which kind of was weird because those are Japanese and Russian guns, but you kind of understood why, because there wasn't enough guns in the game. And then they added all the guns in the game, but they didn't go back and replace them in the campaign. So that's the only thing that kind of bothers me about the game, but still a great game, and I would vote. Actually, let me hear your thoughts on it. Sorry.
I would. This is probably the hands-on, the best multiplayer. To this date, we had that trend of like bad Call of Duties coming out. I mean, not bad, but like mediocre Call of Duties. And this one really like reignited our love for it, and we had so much fun. Like you mentioned, the events, like just the different events they had. There was one around Halloween where they had like the whole HQ, where you meet all the people, and like the whole idea, you have the different locations you can go to, like the ranking up, get your daily task, the gun range, and then they had.
I love that 1v1 pit. The 1v1
yeah,
pit. I spent so much time in that pit.
Yeah, and that was fun.
That was so much fun, especially when you're going to, like, there's a whole video I did. There's a dirty montage of Nick and I doing 1v1s in the pit, and we had so much fun doing that because it was just like you each get to pick a gun pretty much, or pick a gun to X out, and then you use what was left. So like you had weird combinations like shovel and flare. It was like, okay.
But I remember the HQ just being so much fun because it's, there's about like 10, 15 people there, real time. And you're all just like walking around. You could do like different emotes, I remember, and like different dances. And of course you can unlock those too. But I remember the unlocking system being awesome too, because you didn't have to, buy loot box or, buy it, through the store. You could actually work for it. And I remember, I forget what the game mode is called, but Escort, I want to say, the one that we always played all the time. That was fun, where you had it was like a series of things where one group is attacking. War mode, yeah, where one group is attacking and one is defending, and you had a different like objectives to do, like escort your tank or plant the bomb, or get fuel for your tank. I remember that one, the winter one.
Yeah.
But or blow up the bridge, that kind of stuff. I don't think you actually blew it up, but that was like the end goal.
You built one bridge and then one bridge blew up,
Yeah.
And the nice thing is the war missions that they added on later in the DLC were good too. I think the only one that kind of failed was the last one, in my opinion. The final one, where it was like the German secret facility. It was like, this is kind of weird.
Yeah, I remember that now. I think they just tried to do too much with the, they added the different guns, like
the experimental guns. Yeah.
But I remember that being fun, and then you just, having. I wish we still played it today. I mean, we should pick it up again and just try to see what's different about it.
Yeah.
See if anyone plays it.
This was the first game that we played hardcore mode on like 24/7 too. Like except for war mode, we never went back to to regular modes during the game. And maybe that's what we need to do with the new Modern Warfare, but
nope.
It was like I just remember the multiplayer being so much fun, and I did so many dirty montages because this was a game that I excelled in. I think you excelled in because it was a return to the old ways, and all these little kids didn't know how to play the old school way.
Yeah, they're like, "Mom, I can't get on the roof. I don't have a jetpack, Mom."
Also, what's your favorite gun in this one?
Oh, shoot. Tell me yours first.
Well, I really enjoyed the double barrel shotgun, the sawed-off.
Not really. I don't recall having a favorite gun. That's my issue.
The
I'll
bar.
get back to yeah, the bar. The
Yep,
bar was
Team
fun.
42. There was. Let me just name them all off for
I
you.
think mine was the STG. I think I used that one
STG,
the most.
yeah. Okay, I think that. Oh, and I remember they updated the Call of Duty World War II as well. They updated the game, and they actually made it better with the updates. It started off where like there was like the 4 different classes you can choose from, and each one had a specific thing working with them. And eventually they added more classes, and then they changed them up. And actually, when they changed them up, things got a lot better in the game. And there's also prop hunt mode in this was really fun too.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, because of the
Oh,
zombies
yeah.
mode though, I think we have to put this one in A tier. But I mean, if you want to, I'd put it in S tier if you want.
I'm good with the A.
A tier. All right, World War II goes in the A tier, and it stays there. Now we move on to Call of Duty Black Ops 4.
Can we just put this one in F right away?
All right, I'll move it in the F area. So Black Ops 4 is infamous for not having the campaign mode, even though World War II sold well because it had a campaign mode, even though Infinite Warfare had a great campaign mode, and even though people still loved the campaign mode, they listened to the small tier of people who were like, just put multiplayer in this bitch, and so they did. The multiplayer was... Oh, and they put Battle Royale in this one. This game sucks. I don't know what else to say about it. Like, the guns were bad. The abilities ruined the game. I did not have fun with this game, really at all. Like, if you look on my channel, you can see a distinct point where Call of Duty World War II ended, and then I did not have any Call of Duty videos until I put together more clips for World War II. Like, I hated Black Ops 4. I hated the Battle Royale mode. It was so unbalanced. When we played it, it just looked so terrible.
Awful.
Guns were just bad in this game. It was a prequel to Black Ops 3, yet they didn't put any story into the game to kind of give us some background on these characters. They just had like little things like the training stuff. And then the zombies in this game, I think I had a little bit of fun with the Gladiator one. But even then, it's like, it was really heavily based on Easter eggs again, and I don't really enjoy zombies anymore. That's the one thing that I think we've learned throughout this, where it started off great, Black Ops 1 and World at War, and then it just started getting worse as the games went on, and Black Ops 4 is just like the coup de grace, right, of bad zombie experiences.
Yeah, I like that Gladiator, though. I mean, there was a tiger, though. Wasn't there a tiger in that one?
Yeah, there was tigers, there was like gladiators who were zombified. But you could literally just get the LMG that's on the wall and kill everything. It was crazy how easy the zombies were in this game.
But yeah, I just hated this map. I remember, I think we started off liking the blackout mode. Like, me and you will team up, and we're like, this is not so bad. Then just all hell broke loose. Like, I remember we were riding a quad. I think this video is on your...
It might be somewhere on YouTube.
And we're riding a quad, and we were shooting these guys, shooting them, and they just like turn around and one-shot us or something like that.
Well, there was a guy in a building, and I was like, oh, let's stop here and take this guy out. And we were just booping along. He was faced the wrong way, and he turned around and killed us both off the quad. And it was ridiculous because I think I got off, and I got off behind it, and he killed you first, and he killed me without even flinching. And I was like, well... That's the end of blackout mode for me.
And blackout mode, the map was just not very well designed, in my opinion. I remember us going up to the top of it, where it was like near the river, the dam, and we were just like wait there, and then it's just like we would never. The only way we ever got in the top 5 is when we had no interaction with anyone. Like we would just hide around, and then all of a sudden we'd be like, oh, we're in the top 5, and then we just get killed.
Yeah, there were so many times where I feel like I should have won Blackout. I played a solo a few times, and there's like this train tunnel that you could go into, and I just stayed in that tunnel the whole time with the best guns I could find. And then when I went out, it was like there was 5 people left, and I remember so this one was the one that really stuck with me because it was such BS. I remember I was playing Blackout. I was in the top 3, and I looked out of my little window. I was kind of crouching in between where the no-go zone was kind of coming in close, but I was in a corner, and I was safe. And I remember peeking out the window and seeing 2 people on the bridge, and I'm like, oh, they're about to fight. So I ran out there thinking that they were going to shoot each other because they were firing their guns, but it turns out they were firing their guns into the air and they were trying to get me into the into the open. And so here I come. I threw some grenades. I didn't get any hits with them. I think I damaged one guy, and then they both turned around and shot me. And I was like, how does someone do this?
Yeah.
That was so frustrating to me because I could have won that if they both had been fighting each other, but instead they teamed up for however they decided to do that. I don't know how they got into the same game as each other, but that was really annoying. So that's why I hate Black Ops 4.
Yep, I agree with you.
But yeah, definitely F tier. Black Ops 4 can burn and die along with Black Ops 3. And finally, that's right, finally we have 2019's Call of Duty Modern Warfare.
Yay.
I know I've been talking about this game a lot, and if you want to, you can get my full thoughts on the game in the last episode of Yemmy Cast. But in short, the game falls short.
Yep.
The campaign mode excels in areas, but it also fails in areas. The multiplayer is broken as hell. The maps suck. The guns, even though the gunsmith is amazing, the guns just, there's like one gun that I like that I can use and get kills with, and that's the M4A1, and all the other guns are like garbage, except for, of course, the overpowered Olympia. There's just so many balancing issues in this
sniper?
game.
Olympia?
The sniper. The
I agree
spawn
with you.
points in this game are broken. The game
good.
modes in this game, you can't choose what game mode you want. You can only choose a playlist of all the game modes together. You can turn off the crossplay, but when it's turned on, it's laggy. You're behind people. When you go just the PS4, though, there's a bunch of people who camp. A bunch of people use those dumb tactics. Piccadilly is awful. I hate that map to the core.
Make sure you check out the Piccadilly video.
Yes, that'll be out by the time this comes out, so if you want to, you can check out my Piccadilly video where I show off a gameplay of us getting spawn trapped on that map, which happens every single time you play it. And then the Spec Ops mode is just straight hot trash in this game. We recently tried it again because Depraved Slasher was like, oh, you should give it another try, Yemmy. Just like with Assassin's Creed Unity, I went out hating it more. It's just, the map is too big. There's not a clear enough objective. You don't have enough ammo, and they just swarm you with enemies. By the time we died during the last mission we played, there was like 15 juggernauts on the map, like literal juggernauts with miniguns. It's like, how are you supposed to do this? And then the survival mode, we haven't played much of it, but it just didn't seem fun either. You have to play these modes with 4 people. It's ridiculous. You can't just play them solo. I guess you can play them solo in a private match, but you can't because there's so many enemies that they throw at you. It's just a mess. It's a mess right now. And it really makes me sad because I was really digging the game the first few days when I was playing the campaign. And then I switched over to playing multiplayer most of the time. And I was like, well, I guess this is turned from a 10 out of 10 to a 2 out of 10.
Yeah, everything you said, you nailed it. I mean, the maps are unbalanced, one-sided, too many camping spots.
Too big, too.
Too big. There's a perk where you can get unlimited claymores, and it's just, people are putting claymores all over the place. This shotgun, the Olympia, can be used as a sniper rifle. It's ridiculous. And I just feel like I die so quickly. I mean, just add a little more health. I just die compared to everyone else so quickly. Everyone always manages to hit my head. But if I hit someone else's head and get a headshot, nope, doesn't happen. They kill me somehow.
Mm-hmm.
Know how many times I've died because I would be unloading and clipping to somebody, and they just turn around and just like get this one quick, easy kill on me, and it gets me going. Like, that's what makes my blood boil.
Can we talk about the one-hit kill revolver in this game?
Oh my God!
What a terrible sidearm! That's just an incompetent game design there. And then also, as we said before, the Olympia in this game, or the 752 or whatever it's called, is just so overpowered. People get one-hit kills with that thing from what seems like miles away. And there's different attachments you can put on it to make it into a sniper rifle almost with slug rounds. It's just terrible. There's so many balancing issues in this game because I was using the first shotgun. Because the first shotgun, let's be clear, it's not as bad as the Olympia, but it still can kill in one hit every so often. But it's very unclear what the range is, how many pellets you have to get on someone to do a one-hit kill. Because I'll be like right into a guy, right, shoving it up in a guy's ass, and I'll fire, and the guy won't die, and he turns around and kills me, and then I'll do the same thing with the Olympia, and it's like no matter how far away I am, as long as like I'm a stone's throw away, I can kill someone one hit. It's ridiculous. And then they have the audacity to put 2 other shotguns in this game that no one will ever use. I don't think I've even seen the second shotgun being used in this game, which is like a pump action, but it's like a futuristic type of gun. It's bad, guys.
Yeah.
It's not good.
And it's just don't get me on that Spec Ops, because I was so excited for it. I was like, yeah, Spec Ops and no more zombies, and zombies not gonna ruin it. Well, bit that word or ate my own words there.
Yeah.
Like you said, it was just nonstop enemies. You run out of ammo, even though they give you ammo crates, and by the time you pick up another guy's or enemy's weapon, you're dead. And
Right.
it's like I'll go hide and I'll peek around. I'll mount my gun up, on the door frame. Peek out, and there's like one shot, and I'm already blinking red again. And it's like, oh well, I have to wait 10 more seconds, to for my health to regenerate. Then I go out another door, and then there's 3 juggernauts sitting there. You're like, oh shit, gotta go back. And you run back into that room, and then you're just trapped. And then finally, you're like, oh, okay, here's the last guy. Nope. Here comes 70 more. Half of them are juggernauts. The other half is just impossible AI to kill. I mean, it sounds like we're bad at the game, like you said, it's 4 players, and kind of hard when you're not talking to the other 4 or 2 players, and like you said in your podcast, one was sniping in the back one time, and the other one kept going down. It was just like, what are we like? What are you supposed to do?
Yeah, what are you supposed to do?
What are you supposed to do? The campaign.
I know you had problems with the campaign, and I think I need to play through it again with without the lust of oh, it's a Modern Warfare, Captain Price,
Well, let me explain my issues. So my issues is the saving points. So the night level where you have that what's that car going around that
the car with the machine gun on it.
Yeah, it's a tank.
It's like a technical or something.
Yeah, and I was going, and I was like, oh shoot, this thing's gonna see me. So I was like, all right, I'll just let it see me, because it's easier, because the guy's already on alert. And I was like, all right, you know what, I'll just let it happen and restart. Well, nope, my save point was right before, like literally seconds before my the tank saw me. And so every time I start over, the tank would just see me over again and kill me. I'll die instantly. And then there was a bunch of other parts. I think there was the last mission where I'll be attacking the facility, and like grenades would be thrown at me constantly. And there was another part where my save point was right before a grenade blew up. So every time I would respawn, boom, I just die again. Or like another part, guys just came out of this door, and it saved right in front before that. And these guys would just come out the door again and just keep killing me. It's like, what am I supposed to do?
Yeah, I didn't notice the bad save. Like, I do notice them on that nighttime level you were talking about. I did have a few times where, like, an enemy spotted me as soon as I was saving, so I had to kind of deal with that. But I didn't notice that throughout the rest of the campaign. I guess I just didn't go down as much as you did at the end there. The other thing about the campaign that I liked was the level design. Up until like the end, I think I really was digging the level design, especially with like the one where you clear house, and then there's one where you're like in the embassy, and then you have to go outside the embassy and fight the guys in the dark. And I really had a good time with those parts of the campaign, and it really felt like more of a cinematic experience. And I loved kind of playing as Captain Price, and not you don't play as Captain Price, we play as the people around Captain Price, and really makes me wish that they hadn't done this, though, because now we have several characters who we don't see again in the Modern Warfare universe. There's the general who was talking to you. There was the special ops lady with the scarf around her neck you never see again in the Modern Warfare games. There's the leader of the group, the lady who was like the kid that you played as the kid as. I forget her name. but you never see her again. There's the African American dude who's British, who was in the Piccadilly level that you play as throughout the most of the campaign, and we never see him again. And of course, the Alex guy, spoiler alert, dies during the last mission. But other than that, there's like a whole bunch of characters who we never see again, even though there's characters who they talk about in this game, like they talk about Ghost and Gaz and General Shepard and people like that, but you never see them. And it's like they're like edging you on, going like, oh yeah, Al-Assad, he's in the Spec Ops mode, right? But he's not really. And I feel like if they had centered this game more around like a prequel story where, you know, you had a young General Shepard and you had a young Captain Shepard and you had, I'm sorry, not Captain Shepard, Captain Price, and you had like a younger version of all these main characters that you saw in the, you know, Call of Duty Modern Warfare series, the original trilogy, I feel like the campaign would have hit home more. But it was still fine. It was still a good experience, which is why I would not put it in an F, but I would put it in an E right now.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. E sounds good to me.
I think the Gunsmith brings it up, and also the campaign brings it up, but the negatives on this are just so heavy, I can't put it higher than an E. But I definitely wouldn't put it as an F. So I think E is a good choice here.
Yeah, I like that.
All right, Nick. Well, we did it. All the Call of Duties,
outstanding Marines.
All the important Call of Duties we've placed in the tree here. So let's just go through them real quickly. So in the F tier, we have Call of Duty World at War Final Fronts, Black Ops 3 and 4. E tier, we have Call of Duty Modern Warfare from 2019. D tier is Call of Duty 3, Call of Duty Ghosts, and Advanced Warfare. C tier, Infinite Warfare. B tier, Finest Hour, Big Red 1. Partly Modern Warfare, Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare. Black Ops 2 and Call of Duty Modern Warfare Remastered. A tier is the original Call of Duty, Call of Duty 2, Call of Duty 4 a little bit of World at War, Modern Warfare 3, and World War 2. And then in the superior tier, in the S tier, we have United Offense, Modern Warfare 2, a little bit of World at War, and Black Ops. And I think I'm satisfied.
I'm satisfied too. Hopefully there will be a lot more coming out in the future that go in the A and S category.
Yeah, if they can learn from their mistakes, I think we'll start to get better ones. But if they continue to be like Modern Warfare, I don't know. Most controversial one in this list, probably. I would say Infinite Warfare is pretty controversial because people hate that game. But we both agreed that the campaign brought this one up way more, and the zombies mode was actually fun in it, which was different from any other Call of Duties after World at War. But yeah. And probably the one that we're not going to get shit on for is Modern Warfare 2. All right. Yeah, that's going to be about it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed our discussion about the different Call of Duty games. Remember, Greedy Waffle, he doesn't have a Twitter or YouTube or anything, but his channel is my channel. Or my channel is his channel. Always accept him on here. If you want to, you can follow him on Twitter, and you can talk to him in the Discord. That's the Ferret Nation Discord. Links are, of course, always in the description. Fubar Ferret is a new podcast that I'm doing. If you want to, you can check that out. And then we do have something in the pipeline that I don't want to reveal yet, but we have something in the pipeline we're working on together with 2 other people as well, so we'll reveal that when that comes out. Other than that, anything else you want to say, Nicholas, before we become Dark Corner McDougalls?
Thank you for having me on. It was a pleasure and fun going through Call of Duties. Like we said earlier, you know, we pretty much grew up, you know, played Call of Duty together with us, together. So it's been fun. So I'm glad we were able to do this. Yeah. And I'm glad we didn't have any disagreements, really. Argue about any of them.
All right.
But other than that, go Browns.
Go Browns. All right, so next episode of Yemmy Cast is going to be Wednesday. It's the normal scheduled one. Premieres at 4 p.m. Eastern Daylight Savings Time. And then also, I think a new Fubar Ferret will have come out on Friday, so if you want, you can check that out. And then live stream is yesterday's live stream, because this will come out on Sunday. So yesterday's live stream will have been 007 Nightfire, a real trip down memory lane for both of us. So that'll be fun to play. And I think that's it. Edited videos are going to come down the pipeline eventually, but not right now.
Not down the pipeline, huh?
All right. Nicholas, thank you so much for joining me. I am the host, Yemmy the Ferret, and I've been here with...
Greedy Waffle.
And this has been YemmyCast, a video game podcast.